Hi guys, this is Pradeep Srivastava. Welcome to my channel. See, I'm going to talk about sales. In sales, it's very important to have some few skills which can probably make you sell anything to anyone. So let's see how can we sell anything to anyone. There are 5-6 points. Do listen to this video carefully and watch it till the end. Right? So we're going to discuss this interesting topic. Let's dig into it. See, one of the most easiest things, probably I'll start with the easiest thing. The most of the easiest thing is to probably ensure that the meeting which you are having or the sales calls which you are having, with the prospect should be a little entertaining and not boring. Yeah, it should not be a generic one, or it should not be something like you have crammed the whole night and you're probably talking the same thing. What is there in your presentation, what is there in your company portfolio, and you're making it boring and bad. If you do that, the entire thing stops. So make sure when you are talking to the customer, you have some or probably you do it in a light mood with a serious note, so that the entire conversation is probably interesting. Yeah, so that is one thing you need to work upon. It's, if need, you can put a small joke in between if required, but it should not look odd, depending on situation to situation, circumstances to circumstances. Please ensure while you are starting the conversation, gain an acceptance of the customer, become the customer is listening to you, and you're not making the conversation boring. It has to be exciting. That is the number one hack. See, the second important thing which you need to remember is, when you're talking about your product, don't sell your product. That is the biggest mistake most of the sales guys do. They start selling their product. What you need to, in place of selling the product, do instead of selling the product, you actually need to talk what your product can do for them. That is much important, right? So don't sell the features, don't sell anything. Talk about the advantage what your product can give it to the customer, what is the benefit the customer can get. So always you have to sell and solution, you don't have to sell the product. So most often than not, most of the sales guys do the mistake of just selling the product, selling the features and talking about it. Talk about the results, talk about the solutions. As simple as that. Right guys? So that is the number 3 important thing is that when you are talking to them, try to get into their world, try to have a situation of empathy kind of thing, try to understand what they like, what they don't like, what they care, what are their problems, what are their fears, consequences if things do not happen, and what is that is very, very challenging to them. So probably you have to dig deep into this, and the probing exercise has to be so perfect that you are able to understand the customers, important points, the customer challenges, the customer problems, the customer's fears, the customer's desire, the consequences if that probably the result doesn't come. Yeah. So also get into the world of the customer, get into the world of the prospect. That is very important, and that is only possible if you have the right probing questions. If you have the way to ask the questions, make the customer comfortable, and it is not questions like which is interrogating, or it is not questions which are close probes. Yeah. So the close probes has to be there while in the probing exercise, but then the ratio of close probes in relation to the open probes has to be very, very less. When close probes are only used when you're trying to take a confirmation that what you have understood is correct or wrong, right? So that is the number 3 hack. Please follow this. See, the number 4 thing is, I have also posted a video on storytelling too. If you have not seen that video, I'm putting the link here. Please do watch that video, because storytelling is one of the most important points when you are a sales professional, right? So even if you're not a sales professional, even in your personal life, when you're trying to convince anybody, when you're trying to put your point, storytelling plays a very important role. So you have to develop a skill of storytelling. So the point here is, the 4th point which I'm going to emphasize is that, see, after all, you are talking to people, right? The prospect is also a human being, and you are also a human being, right? So human being per se is an emotional creature, right? Everything logics are not required. Yeah. So if you can play with the emotions, probably that is the biggest asset. Yeah. So try to sell emotions and feelings. That is what will bring the belief in the customer. Try to do a storytelling if required, but because storytelling is such an exercise that it probably hits the mind of the customer, and it will last for long. Even if the end of the meeting is not very favorable, but the storytelling will keep reminding the customer about you, and probably the customer never forget to play with the emotions and feelings. Now, to play with the emotions and feelings, you need to probably have a conducive atmosphere where your questions and the ambience where you're sitting has to be in such a manner that probably you can get into those things, right? So never see, I have seen that many of the companies, when you don't go with a proper appointment call, they keep standing and talking to you. They are talking in a gallery, they are talking at a reception, they are talking at some other place. So those places you should not talk at all. You should probably try to push the customer for a private meeting, or if not, take a back seat, ask him for another appointment and go and talk to him, right? Because see, you should have only the prospect sitting with you. Maybe it is 1 or 2 or 3 people, whatever, but then you have to play with their emotions. You should have the skills to probably talk something which is more than logical. Yeah, because that is what is going to build the customer's trust in you. Customer doesn't buy the product unless and until he trusts you, right? Customer only buys the product when he has the trust in the sales employee, irrespective of the company, irrespective of the brand. So that's very important. So I'm sure you're clear about the 4th point. The next important point is, the 5th point, is that whatever you're talking, when you're trying to, probably narrow down the entire discussions, whatever you have to be specific. Yeah. You cannot give a general statement, that, for example, if you are a logistics company, you can't say we are very fast, we are very efficient. That doesn't make sense, because that is generic, and probably every logistic company is efficient, right? That is why they are into logistics. So what you need to do is, you need to get into specifics and tell them that this is the time I take to deliver your goods, all right? This is what is the result of my product. This is what will happen to you. This is the solution which will get to you, and hence this is efficient. So be specific. No generic statement, no general statement. Specific, result oriented, solution oriented, right? So that is the next point. Let me come to the last point. Why is this important? See, whatever you do in sales, if there is no deadline, there is no urgency, there is no where the customer feels, if I don't buy this product in XYZ time, probably I may lose out. Okay, for example, see the Zara stores. Study their marketing strategy. It's a beautiful marketing strategy which they have in the world, right? The apparels which are there in a Zara store is only for a specific time, and it is very clear that they create a fear psychosis, where probably the customer knows that if he's liking the garment, if he doesn't buy now and he's probably coming the next week, he may not get it. Yeah, and the marketing strategy of Zara is not only to that extent, probably it is also to the extent that you get that particular apparel in a particular store and you may not get the same in the other store. Yeah, so there is always a FOMO which is created as a marketing strategy with the brand, right? So why not you? So always make sure that you try to take advantage of FOMO. FOMO, I should not tell the full this thing, because all of you know it, but anyways, it is fear of missing out, right? So always have a deadline, that if this is done by this deadline, you probably get this advantage, and if it is not done, you may lose this advantage, right? So when you do that FOMO exercise, probably it becomes a pushing strategy, where probably the customer thinks, if I don't buy this product from this company by XYZ time, I may lose out. Yeah, so FOMO works. Yeah, so work on FOMO, use it wherever you can. It's going to help you. Yeah, so these were the 6 points. If you use all the 6 points tactfully and skillfully, probably, then you can sell anything to anyone. I'm sure you must have liked it. Do like, share and subscribe. Keep following me. There will be more interesting topics coming in. Thank you. Namaskar.